This dinosaur might still be alive today. Hi everyone, it's me. Number 10. Goblin sausage. There is an old legend that talks about a goblin sausage that lives deep in the forests of Eastern Europe. This mythical monster was said to have been encountered by humans since the Middle Ages. In fact, there are some very old paintings from the Middle Ages depicting what we believe to be the goblin sausage. The creature is usually described as being a small, human-like beast that ambushed lone travelers at night. It supposedly smelled like a delicious sausage, hence the name goblin sausage. To this day, many people claim to hear the sound of the goblin sausage calling out in the dead of the night. People say it sounds like a man crying and wailing, or even the sound of a woman giving birth. No one has ever seen the goblin sausage, but there are plenty of legends about the beast. According to these stories, the goblin sausage can only be killed by fire, and if a person is unfortunate enough to get captured by the monster. These are pretty gruesome details, but that's not the craziest part. The most bizarre thing about the goblin sausage is that it's supposed to be the offspring of Satan himself. The creature is believed to have been born from the unholy union between Satan and a hedgehog, which may explain why it's covered in spikes and carries so much evil energy. Some versions of the legend say the goblin sausage is actually a vampire, which would also explain its insatiable hunger for human blood. 9. Prehistoric bird. Did dinosaurs go extinct 66 million years ago? Well, it turns out we might not know everything there is to know about prehistoric birds. A group of researchers recently discovered that the common ancestor of all modern birds actually predates the extinction of the dinosaurs. Published in the journal PNAS, the study suggests that birds actually evolved sometime before the Cretaceous period, meaning that they weren't wiped out during the asteroid impact event 66 million years ago. Instead, their ancestors were already dead long before the asteroids hit. The scientists analyzed bird fossils found in Canada and determined that birds were already diverse and widespread across the globe long before the asteroid wiped out most of the planet's life. Our results suggest that birds were not simply a chance survivor of the mass extinction that killed the dinosaurs, said lead author Jordan Mallon from the University of Toronto. Instead, birds were already well established as a group before the mass extinction, having originated in the Lacustrine period. Mallon says that modern birds are technically dinosaurs, so it wasn't the end of the dinosaurs when the asteroid struck, just the end of the non-avian dinosaurs. Number 8. The living dinosaur. After all that, maybe it's time we finally accept that dinosaurs are still walking among us. We just can't see them. Okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but according to some ancient Chinese texts, dinosaurs never died out. And one type of dinosaur may still be roaming the earth today. That would be the Chinese dragon. Now, dragons are found in almost every mythology around the world, but it's the Chinese dragon that may have been inspired by a real animal. Dragons are described as being enormous sea creatures with the head of a snake and whiskers like a shrimp. They are also said to have sharp claws and a body that looks like a pile of stored-up treasure. Many scholars believe dragons were an exaggerated version of the Chinese alligator. The Chinese alligator is a species of reptile that can be found in freshwater habitats in eastern China. It's a very unusual-looking animal with a narrow snout, long tail, and beady eyes. They are typically no longer than 5 feet in length and look kinda goofy. Despite the fact that they don't look anything like a dragon, scholars say that thousands of years ago, people witnessed alligators in the wild and thought they looked a lot more terrifying. Plus, dragons are often depicted with 4 legs, just like the Chinese alligator. It's possible that this depiction came from early humans trying to remember exactly what they saw. After all, humans had never seen anything like a Chinese alligator before, so they tried to draw it out in their cave paintings, sort of like how we try to draw dinosaurs. Number 7. Sea monsters. Speaking of dinosaurs, did you know there are some creatures living in our oceans today that look like they're straight out of the Jurassic Park? Take the blobfish, for example. The blobfish is a deep-sea fish that lives between 2,000 and 4,000 feet below the surface. They are normally pale pink in color, but turn bright orange when exposed to air. Blobfish are known for having huge, bulging eyes and weird flaps of skin dangling over their mouths. When the fish is in its natural habitat, it doesn't look nearly as strange. But when fishermen pull them out of the ocean, their skin deflates, causing them to look like something straight out of the upside down. Then there's the frilled shark. This shark has a really long body and big frills of skin around its head. It can grow up to 13 feet in length and is believed to be over 80 million years old. The frilled shark has a lot of teeth and can swallow its prey whole. It's mostly gray in color and has a round nose, which makes it look like a mix between a shark and a goblin. One of the weirdest sea monsters living in our oceans today is probably the zombie worm. This worm is a crustacean and gets its name because it's often found attached to dead whales and other large animals that have died in the ocean. They are parasitic and live off the nutrients of the decaying flesh. They usually get stuck in the whale's mouth, where they feed off their blubber. Although they're called zombie worms, they're actually more closely related to crabs and lobsters. Number 6, Bigfoot and Sasquatch. Have you ever heard of a Yeti? Probably. How about the abominable snowman? Definitely. Maybe you've even heard of Bigfoot. While these may all sound like different cryptids, they're actually all the same thing. That's right. Bigfoot, the abominable snowman, and the Yeti are all names for the exact same cryptid. Scholars believe these three names refer to the same creature, Sasquatch. Sasquatch is a large, hairy, human-like creature that's said to live in the forests of North America. Eyewitnesses say it stands between 7 and 9 feet tall and has very long arms. Most people who have seen the Sasquatch say it looks a lot like Bigfoot, hence the two names. There have been thousands of reported sightings of the Sasquatch all over the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But despite all the sightings, no one has ever managed to capture a single photograph of the creature, nor has anyone managed to collect any physical evidence. Number 5. The Kraken. You've probably heard the myth about the Kraken before, but did you know that the myth may have come from real events? The Kraken is a legendary sea monster said to dwell off the coasts of Norway and Sweden. It's described as being a massive beast that could wrap its tentacles around ships and drag them down to their doom. Some say the Kraken can reach up to 100 feet in length, which is around the size of a blue whale. For centuries, sailors spoke of encountering the Kraken and claimed the best way to kill it was by stabbing it in the eyes with a red-hot musket ball. Of course, this is just a myth. Or is it? There are several stories about giant squids attacking boats. Sure, squids aren't technically the same as the Kraken, but the similarities are uncanny. Squids are known to attack whales, so attacking a boat wouldn't be too much of a stretch. Number 4. Champ. In 1975, a woman named Sandra Manick captured a picture of a mysterious creature swimming through the waters of Lake Champlain. What makes this story especially interesting is that Sandra is far from the first person to witness the mysterious monster. She's actually one of hundreds of people who claim to have seen Champ, the alleged monster of Lake Champlain. Champ is said to be a kind of sea serpent that lives in the lake between New York and Canada. The creature is said to be around 20 feet in length and has humps that rise out of the water, just like the Loch Ness Monster. Unfortunately, just like the Loch Ness Monster, there's no solid evidence that Champ actually exists. However, there have been hundreds of sightings over the years and plenty of blurry photos. Some say Champ is a type of plesiosaur, which is an extinct marine reptile that lived over 200 million years ago. Others say Champ is a giant eel or a type of serpent. Number 3. Mola Mola. Back in 1979, an Australian fisherman named David Marsh allegedly snapped a photo of a mysterious creature that washed ashore near Sydney. It looked like a lizard, but had an unbelievable number of legs. Could it be that David accidentally snapped a picture of a prehistoric beast? Well, it might not be that far-fetched. Fossils show that Australia was once home to some truly strange creatures, and somehow some of those creatures may have survived until today. David's photo appeared in Reader's Digest magazine, and soon afterwards the Australian government came knocking. They wanted to question David and take a closer look at the photograph, but he had already thrown the photo away. And what was left of the animal had already decomposed. David says he was never offered any money for the photo, though. He was just questioned by the government and then sent on his merry way. Number 2. The Lizard Man. Have you ever heard of the Lizard Man of Scape Swamp? Probably not. That's because the Lizard Man is a local legend in South Carolina and is rarely spoken of outside the state. The legend goes back to the 1940s when a man known only as the Lizard Man began terrorizing the town of Bishopville. He was said to be covered in green scales and had sharp claws on his hands and feet. Witnesses say he looked like a mix between a human and a reptile, standing 7 feet tall with bulging red eyes and scaly skin. It's believed that the Lizard Man escaped from a traveling circus and began preying on local wildlife, killing deer and stealing their hides. The Lizard Man allegedly lived deep in the swamp and avoided people at all costs. It's rumored that he slept during the day and hunted at night. Locals were terrified and organized a militia to hunt the creature down. But after spending months searching for him, they came up empty-handed. To this day, no one knows what the Lizard Man was, where he went, or even if he was real. Number 1. Loch Ness. Last but not least, let's talk about the Loch Ness Monster. Scotland's beloved sea monster has been inspiring people for centuries. The Loch Ness Monster is said to live in the depths of Loch Ness, a large, deep lake in the Scottish Highlands. It's often depicted as having a long neck and multiple humps that rise above the water, like the head and neck of a giraffe sticking out of a lake. While there have been hundreds of reported sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, there is no photographic evidence that it actually exists. The most famous sighting of the Loch Ness Monster occurred in 1933, when a couple driving along the coast of the lake snapped a photo of a strange creature swimming in the water. This photo became known as the surgeon's photograph and caused quite the stir in the town. Sadly, in 1987, it was revealed that the photo was likely a fake. It showed a toy submarine floating in a model train set. Thanks for watching. Which of these living fossils did you find the most fascinating? Let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.